Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can learn how to code for free. You do not need to spend a cent on this stuff, and I want to help you cut through all of the noise on YouTube and online in general and provide some resources that I used to land my first developer role in my 30s. My name's Josh. I started learning how to code in my 30s and I landed my first developer role after 14 months using these exact resources that I'm about to show you in this video. The problem that really stood out to me when I was figuring out how to learn code online was a lot of the content creators out there in this space are either selling their own course or they're making money by referring people to other courses. I did a little bit of research to try and find the best free resources to learn how to code, and there's two in particular that I want to show you today, and these two are the ones that I used in the lead up to getting my first developer role. So the first resource I want to show you is FreeCodeCamp. I'm sure you've heard of this one. It's been around for a while and it's really good. It's changed a lot since I used it. They've got a lot more content and it's laid out a little bit better. So you're going to come to freecodecamp.org. This is where you're going to start your web dev journey. You're going to click on curriculum and certified full stack developer curriculum. And this is it. This is a lot more comprehensive than when I started. There's a lot more content. It's broken down a little bit better. It's a bit clearer. And they're going to have more sort of project work and some theory to read through than when I did it. There's a lot more stuff here. We're going to focus on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's it. The way it's broken down is you have workshops. They're just small tasks. You're learning about different tags for starters, and it'll get more and more advanced. You just see it's a simple instruction. So the first task is simply to place the text in the editor to show you that it appears on the right-hand side. Simple stuff. You'll have labs. Labs are a little bit more complex, a bit more going on. You'll give you some instructions and some tests to make sure that what you do is correct. And you also have theory components, so it's just simply stuff to read through to learn more about what you're doing, and then some questionnaires at the bottom to help make sure you've learned what you need to learn. And this will be the same for CSS. You'll go through, you'll learn about basic CSS, colors, styling, typography, grid, flexbox, animations, all the same kind of layout with theory, labs, reviews and quizzes. And then the same thing for JavaScript. So programming languages, doesn't matter what programming language you do, they've got the same fundamentals. They've got variables, they've got strings, integers, numbers, loops. This kind of low level stuff is going to be the same across most languages. The syntax is going to be different. This will never get anything overly advanced. It's going to lay the foundation for you. The more advanced stuff is where you're going to go and look for that information and practice it. This is going to get you started, get you building some small projects, that's it, but it's enough to get started, and in my experience, enough to get you a job. Down below this, you'll see front-end libraries. We don't need to worry about this just yet, you will come back to it, but sticking with JavaScript, React is most likely the direction you'll go, and there's more jobs for React. Okay. The next resource is the Odin project. I found this in a forum somewhere. This was a big contributor to developing my skill in small projects. There's a lot less hand-holding with this, which is super important when learning web development and programming. So you're going to go to theodinproject.com and we'll click on all paths, and you'll see there's not much to it just yet, but foundations. What you'll notice here, there's going to be some overlap with FreeCodeCamp. That's okay. Some people might learn from this resource better than FreeCodeCamp, for example. So it's worth working through it. If you know it, just skip it. It's a little bit better in that it talks a bit more about web development, and it also goes through actually setting up your computer, the environment, setting up your code editor, your command line, and even going into Git, which is super important. Setting up Git early and learning how to use it, looking back on it is crucial. You go through HTML foundations, you'll probably skip most of this, CSS foundations, Flexbox, JavaScript Basics. I recommend at least going through JavaScript Basics again, even though we did it back in Free Code Camp. It has some better explanations and some good resources to read through to understand more about it. What you'll notice here, there are some projects which I think are quite important to do, particularly the Etch-a-Sketch. I took it a little bit further. So this is my Etch-a-Sketch project that I did through the Odin project. It's a little bit more advanced than what they'd originally laid out, but I think that will help with your learning. If you can take something, add to it, make it bigger, make it more complicated, you'll do it wrong, it'll break, but you'll fix it, you'll learn. It's crucial to take things a little bit further when you're learning. Don't just stick to what they suggest or show you. You won't learn it as well as you could. So it's a very simple project. Looking back on it, it's nothing overly complicated. At the time, it was very difficult, but this is a great project. Color changing, RGB, clear it, you can change the grid size. It's a fun project. It was one that actually came up in my job interview for my first role, and I had to talk about my code, what I did, how I did it. So this actually, in the real world, came up and helped me a lot. So I recommend going deep with this one in particular. There's a lot going on and you'll learn a lot from it. So continuing on with the Odin project, you'll finish up that first section, your foundations course. Once you've done that, it's going to make you pick between JavaScript and Ruby. I recommend just sticking with JavaScript. You've already learnt it. You're better off going deeper with JavaScript than trying to pick up another language like Ruby where all the syntax is different, how you do things is slightly different. So stick with full stack JavaScript unless you have a reason to look at Ruby. Perhaps you've got a job lined up where you're using Ruby or you have interest in Ruby for some reason. Otherwise, JavaScript. So this is the full stack JavaScript pathway on the Odin project. Okay, so this is the full stack JavaScript pathway on the Odin project. It's got HTML and CSS. There's going to be overlap here with the Free Code Camp, but skim through it anyway. There may be some things in there that work better for you, help you understand concepts there a bit better. So my recommendation is just work through them quick, skim through them, and then move on to JavaScript as soon as you can. Okay, the JavaScript course. This is where you're going to do your JavaScript learning, specifically through the projects that it gives you. I only made it to the start of the to-do list before I landed my first developer role. So that's as far as I made it through the Odin project because my first role was in C# and .NET. I hadn't gone back to finish this off. I hadn't really gone back to JavaScript just yet. So for you, I assume you're wanting to stick with JavaScript, so work through this whole thing. My tip is with these projects, don't stop at the requirements that it gives you. Add on to it. Add more features, add some complicated CSS, make some sliding windows, for example. Don't just stop at what they ask you to do. Your learning will really come from making it more advanced than you need to, adding in those features. So I recommend sitting down, making some additional goals for the project and trying to work towards them. Doesn't matter how long it takes, doesn't matter how difficult it is, it's going to break, but you will succeed. You will do it. Once you've completed those projects, obviously continue working through the JavaScript course. You're going to have more projects. So once you've done the JavaScript course, you're going to look at your first front-end framework or library, which is React. There's a lot of front-end frameworks out there for JavaScript. Some other popular ones are Vue and Angular. I find that React is the most in-demand front-end framework as far as jobs go. It just depends where you're from. Certain regions might actually demand Angular more so than React. So take a look at your area or where you plan on working. If you're seeing an overwhelming amount of, say, Angular over React, it might be worth considering learning Angular, for example, but chances are React is the one to go for. Once you learn one, you can pick up other ones fairly quickly. So Don't feel like you're going to be locked into it. Once you've got one down, you can pick up another one. You'll also go into databases, Node.js, which is your server-side JavaScript. And this is where I come back to picking between JavaScript and Ruby. You get to use JavaScript on the back end, on the server side, rather than having to learn Ruby on the back end and JavaScript on the front end. It's just one language. So this is where that recommendation comes into play, is you've got your full stack JavaScript, hence the name of the course. And then they've got some resources for getting hired. Go through it. There'll be a lot of useful information there for applying and preparing for interviews, which is super useful. But there's a lot of this stuff on the internet that's free. You don't limit yourself to this. Get as much practice in as you can. It'll just make it a lot easier as you start getting those reps in when you get interviews. A little bonus one. Now this is paid. I in no way earn any money from recommending this. Is a Udemy course by Jonas Schmedman. I hope I haven't butchered that name. Also, never pay full price for Udemy courses. There's always discounts. You can get them very cheap. I only recommend this one because I worked through it and it's probably one of the best HTML, CSS courses I've done. It really helped me understand, most importantly, responsive design. He goes through and sets up kind of a CSS system as well, which you don't learn in the other resources. And you build a real world project, a real landing page, all kinds of different elements, all kinds of styling. It ties everything you've learned together. Don't have to do this. I purchased this off a recommendation. I loved it. It was worth every cent. So if you want to kind of work through a handheld project but still learn a lot, I recommend signing up for this course and doing it. Now there's two kind of bonus resources I have here that focus on CSS. So the first one is Flexbox Froggy. These are just in-browser interactive, kind of gamified learning to really help you learn Flexbox. Pretty quick, do it in a day, very easily, but it really solidifies your understanding of Flexbox. So the idea of this game is to follow the instructions and move the elements on the screen where they need to be. So in this one, the frog needs to be on the lily pad in the pond. So we'll use Flexbox properties to do that. So as the instructions say, we're going to use justify content flex end, and it moves the frog over and you can move on to the next project. That's all it is. You'll get more and more advanced, you'll use more and more Flexbox properties, but it helps you visualize what's going on, which is super important. So gamified education, I think, is the best. There's not a lot of them though. So when I find one, I do like to work through them because you learn things that you didn't learn previously, or it makes things click in a different way that you won't forget them. Another one is Flexbox Zombies. Similar idea. It was free when I did it. I didn't realize he was charging for it, but it's free. So jump on there and have a look. This one's a little bit more comprehensive, and he did have a Grid Critters. I worked through this one, but I don't recall paying for it. It's quite expensive for what it is, but I did learn a lot from this because I was able to visualize it. I'm very much a visual learner rather than just reading. This is quite expensive. I wouldn't recommend paying this much for it. If you can find a coupon, go for it, but it is there as an option. I did say at the start of this video, this is without spending a cent, but there are some resources out there that I think are very useful. All right, so that's all of the resources I wanted to show you. I truly believe that going through these courses will help you land that first job. Don't stress too much about AI. I'll make another video on my opinions of that, but at the end of the day, we need programmers. We need people to know how this stuff works, and just relying on AI I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. So don't stress yourself with AI just yet. So when should you pay for a course to learn this stuff? It's when you want to go deeper into a particular topic. So these resources that I've showed you, the Odin Project and Free Code Camp, and all of these all-in-one courses that you'll see everywhere, they're all very surface level. So they cover all different topics at a very shallow level. When you want to go deep into something, so vertically, this is when it can be worthwhile paying for a course. For example, I work with ASP.NET and C#, And I wanted to go deeper in learning how to build proper APIs. So I decided to pay for a course that I felt would help me with that. And indeed it did go a lot deeper and a lot more structured than anything I could find on YouTube or on the internet in general. So that's when you do it. It won't be any time within the first 1 or 2 years of you learning this stuff. It's later on when you decide what you want to do. If you decide that you really want to go deep and specialize in a particular area. So don't pay for these all-in-one courses. They're going to be as shallow as these free resources that I've showed you today. So thank you for sticking around and watching this video. I really hope this information helps you. I truly believe that these resources can help land you that first job. If you have any questions, leave them below. It'll help me create more content, help you out with your journey, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Thanks again.